Reggae Just Extra with Ras Dennis.
There are stories in reggae that play loud. And then there are stories whispered in corners, behind studio doors, carried by night wind across Kingston like forbidden songs. This is one of those stories. A story of a youth with fire in his bones. A veteran with courage in his veins. And a red starlet that became the chariot of destiny. This is how Louie Culture gave the world Sizzla Kalonji, not with talk, but with sacrifice. My name is Ras Dennis, and you're watching Reggae Just Extra, your #1 source for music, facts, and culture.
The story of Louie Culture and Sizzla Kalonji on Reggae Just Extra with Ras Dennis.
Before the tours, the platinum shows, the roaring crowds calling Kalonji like a prayer. There was only a skinny youth in August Town, walking with a quiet stride, speaking softly, watching everything. A youth who moved like he was listening to a voice only he could hear. People thought he was strange. But Louie Culture, the Gangalee, the master toaster, a man whose name rang through dancehall like steel, he saw something more. He saw a spark he had only seen once or twice in his entire career. Not talent, not skill, but destiny. Years later, in a casual online chat with DJ Cool Face, Louie said, "Me spirit tell me that youth is a world changer. But destiny rarely arrives ready. It needs a messenger, a guide, a gatekeeper." And for Sizzla Kalonji, that messenger was Louie Culture. The first place Louie Culture carried him was Xterminator Records, home to the legendary Fatis Burrell. A man who had shaped voices like Barris Hammond and Luciano. A king in the kingdom of reggae. Louie walked in and said to Fatis, "Me find a youth. A different type of singer." But Fatis was knee-deep in another project. He listened for a moment, then shook his head politely. A soft not now. A quiet not yet. Many artists would have stopped there. Many would have said, "Me try. Me do me best." But Louie Culture wasn't many. He turned to Sizzla and said, "Forward. We not done."
So, that's a boy Sizzla. Tough boy.
That's when the suspense began. Because every door closed made the next attempt more desperate, more urgent, more dangerous. Next stop, Star Trail Records under producer Richard Bell. No big promises. No spotlight. Just a youth, a mic, and a rhythm. And out of that studio session came a song that would become a spiritual anchor for countless fans walking through hardship, holding firm. Those two words echoed through the ghetto, through foreign, through generations. But Louie wasn't satisfied. One song wasn't enough. He wanted the world to hear the full fire inside Kalonji. And so, he marched him straight into the lion's den. Bobby Digital was not an easy man to persuade. He was a giant, one of the most feared and respected producers in Jamaican music. His standards were sharp. His expectations were high. His patience was limited. When Louie Culture arrived with young Sizzla, Bobby Digital didn't even blink. "I don't record young artists."
Bobby said, Culture, you know, me no deal with young artists. Them don't understand the business. Me no voice young artists.
Them not understand the business. Them get hyped too fast. It was a dead end. A final no, and as the silence hung heavy in that studio, the suspense grew. Was this it? Had Louie Culture reached the last door? But Louie knew something nobody else knew. He stepped forward and said, "This youth is not like the rest." Something in Louie's voice, something firm, ancient, unshakable, softened Bobby Digital's resistance.
I can remember when Sizzla come to the last two songs, you know? And I just shake my head. I say, yes.
He gave them one rhythm, one chance, one moment to prove the impossible. There are moments in music history you can feel shift the air. Moments that come once in a century. This was one of them. Sizzla stepped to the mic, the drum song rhythm echoing behind him. And he delivered Fire Bun. The room froze. The engineers stopped moving. Bobby Digital's eyes tightened. Every man in that studio felt something rise, like a spiritual alarm being activated. Before they could recover, Sizzla recorded Make It Secure. This time, Bobby Digital stood up. A silent respect filled the studio. He gave Sizzla a second rhythm, a third, a fourth. Louie Culture watched the prophecy unfold. The same fire he saw in August Town now lit up the entire studio. But destiny still had one more twist. One more test. Once Sizzla earned Bobby Digital's respect, Louie told him, "You can come day anytime. Work with Digital freely now." But Sizzla had a problem. No transportation. Studios in Kingston were not walking distance from August Town. Opportunities slip fast when you can't reach them. So Louie Culture did something nobody expected. He asked Sizzla, "You can drive?" "Yeah, man." "You have license?" "Me no have." Louie paused. In his hand were the keys to his infamous red Starlet, the one that carried the name Gangalee. A car every police in Kingston knew. A car nobody stopped. A car tied to Louie's entire reputation, his safety, his freedom, his legacy. Giving it to someone without a license? Risky. Reckless. Unthinkable. But destiny whispered, "Trust him." Louie dropped the keys in Sizzla's hand. "Drive it from me yard to Digital, and straight back home. Me a go travel. Don't make me car give trouble." Just like that, the future of reggae was placed in the hands of a youth without a license, driving the most recognizable car in the parish. One wrong stop. One police checkpoint. One crash. And Sizzla's career would have ended before it began. Louie Culture's career might have ended with it. But fate was watching. Louie Culture flew abroad. 3 long weeks passed. 3 weeks where Sizzla drove the forbidden Starlet through Kingston streets. 3 weeks where destiny could have collapsed at any moment. 3 weeks where this entire story could have ended in disaster. But instead, when Louie Culture returned to Jamaica, something unbelievable had happened. Sizzla had recorded an entire album with Bobby Digital. Not just any album, but Black Woman and Child. A masterpiece.
That is our next goal in the music. And we love and respect Bobby Digital. No man no violate Bobby Digital.
A spiritual cornerstone. An album that would define a generation.
Gangalee, our father, our brother, everything. Every day we have a Gangalee yard of a Portmore, big up Portmore people. Every day we left August Town.
Louie Culture handed a youth his keys. And that youth handed back a classic. The prophecy was complete. With the story told, Louie left a message, almost like a prophecy, almost like a warning, each one, help one. If not, the music could go dead. He remembered the old days, when artists like Terror Fabulous, Jigsy King, Daddy Screw and others helped each other in the studio. When unity was the golden rule. When one struggling line in a song could be rescued by another artiste saying, "Try this," he compared it to today's world of closed doors, selfish minds, territorial rhythms, and bad mind politics. But Louie never forgot the man who first helped him, Selector Alonzo Hawk, who carried him to his first studio. He paid that blessing forward to Sizzla. And because of that one act of unity, the world received a warrior poet, a flame bearer, a reggae messiah. Behind every superstar is a secret architect. Behind every prophet is a silent guardian. Behind Sizzla Kalonji is Louie Culture. A man who believed. A man who risked. A man who opened the doors nobody else would. This is not just a story. This is reggae's greatest reminder. When you lift one youth, you lift an entire future. When you hold firm for another man, you help him rise. And sometimes, one car key can change the destiny of an entire generation. That's it for this episode. You've been watching Reggae Gist Extra, where we bring you the untold stories behind the music, the legends, and the culture we love. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a positive comment down below. Until next time, stay blessed, stay conscious, and keep the roots alive. Rastafari.